Buffalo Bills' top priority in the 2025 NFL Draft has been revealed by ESPN analyst and insider Field Yates. Yes, he went on a local Buffalo broadcast and decided to talk about what he sees for Buffalo in the 2025 draft, which is less than 3 weeks away at this point. Let's give you guys a little bit of exposition first before we get into what Field had to say. Bills have 10 selections in this draft, so a lot of firepower, a lot of ability to potentially package a couple of these picks together and move up for some blue chip talent or some players that are high on Buffalo's board. They have that first round pick at 30. They got 2 picks very close together in that second round, and then they do not have a third round pick at this point. But picks at 107, 130, and 171, as well as 175, 179, 206, and 208. So you see, in a 34 pick stretch there, Buffalo has 5 picks. So like they're going to be taking a lot of players in this draft potentially, but they also could go find some big time talent and package a couple of these picks, because I don't know if they need to actually bring in 10 rookies to the 53-man roster in 2025. And they do have some glaring needs. For a team who was 1 win away from reaching the Super Bowl, like there are some holes still on the roster. You lost some free agents. Some players got a little bit older. You need to upgrade in certain areas. And starting at cornerback too, like that's definitely a spot that I am prioritizing early in the draft, as well as defensive tackle. I think Buffalo still needs somebody to pair up next to Ed Oliver to really maximize their front four that they like to run. Receiver, it would not hurt to get a player who can get on the field right away and support Josh Allen. I mean, they're running a receiver by committee kind of thing right now. Yet to have one of these guys emerge as an alpha. Could they find that in this 2025 crop? Maybe. Safety is another position group that I think is rather it needs more depth. It just needs more depth at the end of the day. Taylor Rapp has injury concerns. Don't know if I love DeMar Hamlin starting 17 games. And then pass rusher. You can never have too many pass rushers, and especially with an injury-riddled guy like Joey Bosa, Michael Hecht. He is going to be suspended for the first 6 games of the season. You need some more depth on the edge as well, and can never have too many pass rushers in a very top-heavy quarterback AFC. So, with that being said, let's get into Fields' quotes. But before we do, if we get 300 likes on today's video, do not jinx it. Go down below, smash that thumbs up icon, and like today's video, because if we get 300 likes, I guarantee the Bills will draft a Hall of Fame player in 2025. Don't jinx it. Don't be that guy that makes Buffalo not draft a gold jacket player. Go down below and smash that thumbs up icon. All right, Fields had this to say. He said, yeah, I think corner is the position that comes to mind first, and finding a player that fits into what they want to do defensively. As we know, Sean McDermott is the cornerback whisperer, so it doesn't necessarily need to be in round 1 where they draft a corner. They've maybe had more success in the later portions of the draft with corners than early portions of the draft. But that being said, it's going to be hard to resist if one of these top corners is available with their first round pick or one of those 2 second-round picks in the back half of the round. And I agree with Field Yates, and I also agree with one of the points there that Buffalo has been more productive in selecting corners later on in the draft than in the beginning. Kaiir Elam comes out as an example, and then Christian Benford just going out and getting that massive 4-year contract extension. They're both taken in the same draft. Elam in the first and Christian Benford all the way there in the 6th. But the Bills do need a CB2. Like that is my number 1 position of need. Buffalo was top 5 in balls thrown into coverage last year being completed. So they absolutely need a different starter than Dane Jackson at that CB2 spot. Because there's a reason that they let Dane Jackson go in free agency last year, spent a year in Carolina, and then brought him back as somebody who they're probably comfortable with as the CB4. Your nickel and your left cornerback over there, Benford, is absolutely locked up. But I need a better cornerback, too, than Dane Jackson at this point. It's the fact of the matter. You have too many talented receivers. You have too many talented quarterbacks in the AFC to be running Dane Jackson 17 games as your starter at the CB2. It would just be malpractice. And there are a lot of good corners in this draft that could be available when Buffalo's ready to pick in round 1. And then there's even some other names that are going to be around in round 2. Even some of these guys could fall. Jahdae Barron, the zone freak, versatile, can be in the nickel, can be on the outside, could be over the top at safety as well if you need him in deep coverages. Love that pick. He is being mocked very highly right now, but could slip, and Buffalo could have the opportunity to trade up for him. Will Johnson is a ball-hawking machine. Didn't play too much, had injuries, had other things going on in Michigan this past year, but he is no doubt a blue-chip talent. Would have went like top 5 in the draft had he come out in 2024. Shavon Ravel Jr., yes, he is coming off the torn ACL, and there's been concerns with Buffalo at the cornerback spot, injury-wise. I like the pick, though. He's got a lot of great traits and really feels like he can start in the NFL day one. Trey Amos is another name that sticks out of the SEC. He was dominant this year in Oxford and is another name that's being mocked right around, pick 30, where Buffalo could select him. And then the speedster, Maxwell Harrison, the more true man-to-man corner in this draft and can keep up with some of the quickest receivers on the football field. I like his availability at 30 as well, and that could be a name that Buffalo looks to select. I do think that they will leave day one or day two of the NFL draft with one of those 5 players. With the way that Buffalo is going about their pre-draft visits right now, we'll talk about another pre-draft visit that they have scheduled coming up in just a minute, but they got Siobhan Revell Jr. in the building. Like, they are definitely going to be prioritizing corner at some point early on in this draft because they're a team that needs to be drafting for need now and drafting for positions that they lack in to go up and get over that hump and eventually make a Super Bowl at this point. Field Yates was also asked about a player that he thinks would fit Buffalo's scheme the best, selecting at number 30. He said Trey Amos is probably the one that I think about most often for the Bills, just because of the style of play that they want to roll out defensively, and then also the style of play that Amos has available in his bag. And the Bills did meet with Trey Amos at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, so there's some familiarity there already. And this guy is just a true SEC corner who knows how to lock down a number 1 receiver. Had 3 interceptions in 2024. 16 pass breakups, knows how to get his hand on the football, was targeted a good bit, and he did his job, man. Only allowed 2 touchdowns, 54 passer rating. Love to see that. And this is somebody who's only gotten better with more opportunities. Started his college career in Louisiana Lafayette, ended up transferring to Alabama, where he was solid, didn't see too much action. We know how the DBs roll over in Tuscaloosa. And then once he got his opportunity in that Lane Kiffin defense down in Oxford, Mississippi, he balled out. A real turnover machine. And I think Trey Amos has the ability, and people think he could be a CB2 floor with CB1 potential. I think he's absolutely an option for Buffalo at 30 and would not be mad at all if his name was called on day 1 of the draft. But who's your guy? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Name a cornerback that you want the Bills to draft. We all know it's a position of need, and it's something that they're going to prioritize early. Let me know who your guy is down in the comments. And like I just mentioned before, the Bills have a new pre-draft visit scheduled with Ty Robinson, the 6'6", and now 310-pound defensive tackle out of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Had 7 sacks back in 2024. This is a guy who's had instant production and is able to not only stuff the run, but get to the quarterback. 42 pressures? Are you kidding me? In 2024, that is unbelievable, especially in the Big Ten where they breed offensive linemen out there. And probably, honestly, this guy probably dominated in practice too against the Nebraska team that also had a really, really good offensive line. This is somebody who stayed in Lincoln and has really built up his stock over the past 4 years. It continues to get better and better every single season. Knows how to get his hand on the football. 10 PBUs over the past 2 seasons. That is absolutely electric. And he is an unbelievable athlete, even at 6'6", 310 pounds. He ran the fastest 40 time at the combine of any defensive lineman, and any interior defensive lineman, that ran the 40. Ran a 4.83. Absolutely disgusting type of athlete. Can get out the football quick and fills the need for Buffalo. As he is right now, is projected to be a 4th-round pick in 2025. His stock is rising, though. We're seeing him potentially jump into the 3rd, maybe even the 2nd round in this draft. Could Buffalo decide to take him at the tail end of round number 2? Could they end up just rolling the dice and waiting until round number 4 where they have a plethora of picks? All a possibility, and I do like the physical talents and the production that I'm seeing on the field from Robinson at this point. And it is interesting, though, that this is the first defensive tackle that Buffalo has scheduled a pre-draft formal visit meeting with. Interesting, because they already just prioritized corner. They've brought in Isaiah Bond on a pre-draft visit. Also, Siobhan Revell Jr., who they brought in. So, they are prioritizing the defensive backfield and playmakers in the offensive end. This is the first DT, and he's a projected 4th-round pick. So, could that mean that they end up waiting till later in the draft to select this position? Only time will tell. What do you guys think of Ty Robinson, though? Is this a guy who you'd want with Buffalo right now? Let me know down in the comment section before we get out of here. Type D for draft, type P for pass. And if Ty Robinson's a name that intrigues you and you'd be willing to bring him to the 716. And that'll do it for today's edition of the Bills Breakdown by Chad Sports. That's all I got for you, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're updating you every single time Buffalo brings in new names for pre-draft visits. Anytime there's rumblings about them trading up, anytime there's anything going on with your Buffalo Bills, we will make a video here at the Bills Breakdown. So lock us in, hit that big red sub button. See you guys all in the next one. And as always, go Bills.